Welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday night. It's tough times never last in Melbourne, and thank you very much for coming up on the street and saying g'day, because we're all in this together. If you're wondering who this person is, it's Alita Howe, and thank you very much for joining us again, Alita.
I'm back.
For some of our regular viewers, we've been going on for about probably the last 4.5 years. It used to be called A Life in Crime, then Tough Times, but Alita had a bit of a break, but thank you very much for coming on, sweetie.
You will thank me because you look so good.
Yes.
Compared to me, so rough around the edges.
Well, I'm a bit rough around the edges. I've been in court all day and I'm a bit tired, but we've got a very, very loving guest on tonight. And what I like about this show, everyone's non-pretentious, down-to-earth, authentic, and they tell you the way it is. Not like all this pretentious world out there. Ebony's on the show. And Ebony, what a lovely journey. You at 13, you started working the streets as a prostitute. You got onto the heroin, you went through depression, you've been charged for offences, juvenile detention, but look at you now, you've got a lovely partner, 2 little girls. How did it all start, sweetie? How did you end up at 13 working the streets of St Kilda?
I think I came on Water Estate when I was about 11, and I think I just got into the wrong crowd. I've always seen my mum, you know, doing drugs and drinking and that kind of thing. So I suppose curiosity killed the cat a bit. So, yeah, I got into the wrong crowd, met the wrong girls, older girls especially. Being younger in the welfare system, I got put in, like, to resi homes and foster homes with 16, 17-year-old girls. It was easy to be led astray, so...
They're your role models, you know, so...
Yeah, I looked up to them. So.
Well, I think anyone in that situation, you know, 11-year-old going into that environment, gee...
Scary.
Very scary. You just sort of look up to all those older girls and it'd be a natural thing just to go ahead and go along with what they're doing.
Yeah, especially when you're so young, you think, oh, if they're doing it, it must be cool, you know, to
Ebony,
kind of fit
I remember
in.
when I was much younger, and I was a policeman in St Kilda, and I used to see all the girls, and from the ages of 12, sometimes folks on heroin, and you get all these dirty old men coming up for a quick shag, you know. I thought it was quite disgusting, and I used to actually follow the guys and have a bit of a chat to them. But how did it feel? Was the drug habit that big that you needed to get plenty of money to supply your daily drug habit?
It did get to that point where it was pretty much I had to just keep on working to supply my habit, because it did end up getting out of control, as most heroin habits do get out of control.
Were you sick and tired of the blokes coming up and saying the same old shit, you know, how you going, you know, how much for this and that?
All the same sleazy kind of offers.
But what we were talking about before with Ebony, and like which I've learnt so much from the friends that I know that have been on heroin, is it's just such an illness, and if you're so young and you get on it, like, okay, we're saying that those men are disgusting, I think, to prey on young, beautiful creatures that are out there, but that law of just getting the next fix, you don't even think, you would do anything to get it. Is that right, Ebony?
Yeah,
it's a disease. It's the saddest thing, and if it takes hold of you at such a young age, I'd find it like it's a miracle. Like, I think you're a miracle that you're 26 now, that you've cleaned up, you know, like being on it for such a young age.
It's an amazing story, Ebony, and God bless you. And tell us about that journey. You grew up on the streets and made some, I suppose your friends were working girls?
All working girls. I suppose you really couldn't call them friends. Back in the day, I suppose I called them my friends, but when I look at it, they weren't my friends.
And there was obviously territories, because even, you know, everybody wants... It's a bit like the fruit market, isn't it?
This is my corner.
It's a bit like even the legal profession, you know, all the lawyers are jealous of each other because one person's getting more work.
It's,
you know,
exactly like that.
It's that crazy competition. And how did you deal with that?
Well, to be honest, I got into lots of fights, and especially like if there was lots of older women, but usually in the end I'd sort it out, and because I was so young, I found lots of older women would
take you under their wing.
Yeah, like protect me. So if anybody like started on me of trouble, I'd usually have somebody.
And knowing Alita, you would have beaten up those guys, wouldn't you? You would have been there with a baseball
What
bat.
he mean was, I would still beat them up. If I seriously just find that just disgusting
Impulsive.
and the saddest thing, and you guys are on the street for a reason, but I just think that's another issue, the men part of it. But what I was going to ask, you know, being such a young, you know, beautiful age, you know, like 11 or 12 on the streets, were there people like, group or people that worked in groups that tried to, you know, you standing out, you would have stood out being so young on the streets. Did anyone sort of, like somebody in community groups or anything, like see you and say, please, did anyone try? Because you would have really stood out there.
Definitely. There used to be this group, I don't know what they used to be called. I think it might have been the Foot Patrol, I don't know. And they used to walk around St Kilda, and if they thought, second guess you were underage or you had a warrant out, like if you're in welfare and you had a warrant out, they would ring the police and find out, and then send you back to secure welfare. So,
but because you wanted the law, you were probably more hiding from it.
I was always running
they would
from
annoy
that,
you more.
And
than
Ebony,
anything.
there was, although viewers, of course, loitering for prostitution is an offence, and what they should really do is charge people and take them to court. There was always quite a few decent and kind-hearted police officers, weren't there, who tried to help out?
I never actually encountered one police officer that was, well, not in that situation where I was working, that was really mean to me or anything. I actually found them more supporting and...
Let you do another few jobs and then say go home.
Yeah, I
after
think
that,
they could understand, you know, why, but I think they'd keep an eye on me, because I was very young and vulnerable to the things out
And
there.
tell us how the journey progressed, sweetie. How did it progress to crime? Because when did you sort of start mucking up, and because what led to you being sort of locked up in detention centres?
Definitely meeting the wrong boys, or men back then. So I had a boyfriend, I think about 15 or 16, and no, I would have been maybe a little bit younger. And he ended up committing an armed robbery, and I was with him as an accomplice. So I ended up going to juvie for 18 months.
18 months.
Yeah,
What was that like?
So,
did you see some of the girls you worked with?
yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's very common, especially in either juvie or secure welfare. It's very common to see the girls that you grew up with.
So isn't that amazing, viewers? We're going to talk about your journey. What a beautiful and interesting journey. It made you who you are. Tough times never last. We'll be back shortly with Alita and Ebony on the couch.